Test, test.
There's some static. Why can you hear me? Oh.
Moving back.
Hi, Ellen.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Fine.
Good.
Am I on video this time?
Say that again.
Am I supposed to be on video for this one?
I think that I haven't seen anything as far as boards and commissions. You
Okay.
guys being on videos, it's just city council.
Okay, that's what I thought. I saw the start video with the slash mark through it. I didn't remember seeing that before. I am totally fine. Oh, there we go.
We're having technical difficulties. Can you hear me, Alan?
Yes.
I can.
Okay.
I don't know how to get it.
We put you back to attendees unless you want to stay at panelist.
I just whatever. I'll be the only one, I think, presenting today.
Okay.
I don't think Sean's going to be here.
Okay. So it's up to you. Do you want to name the whole meeting or just promoting you during the presentation?
I mean, you can promote me now. It's fine.
Okay. Let me move you back. That way we don't have to remember to give you permission to speak. You can just now mute yourself and unmute
Exactly.
yourself as you will.
Yep, will do.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Hi, Chris.
Hey,
Hi, John. Hi, John.
Hey there. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Good job. It all started. Sorry, I kind of hit the wrong button.
No worries. It looks
It
like
worked.
just leave Tom as an attendee, by the way. You don't need to promote him.
Hey,
yeah.
Chris.
Hey, John.
Hi, Tom.
Sorry, I was just finishing up another meeting. Hey, regarding the presentation, I was not able to even look at that. It said the link wasn't working. Chris or John, were you able to?
No,
Mine opened.
I'm actually, but I think the agenda was on the invite. It's a pretty short agenda. I think that's where I found it.
Right.
That
Yeah.
is
Opening it from Legistar on my phone worked fine.
Yeah, I couldn't do it from my iPad, but FYI. So, okay, are we all, is everyone here?
yes.
I
It looks
think
like
so.
Tom. You can go ahead and take over if you'd like.
I thrive for the opportunities to take over. So why don't we go ahead and we'll open up the long-term financial policy and audit subcommittee. Is someone taking roll for us?
Yes, I am. Chair Schwethelm,
I'm here.
Member Rogers,
Here.
and Member Sawyer.
Here.
All right. Let the order reflect that all subcommittee members are present.
Great. Okay, public comments. Would you like to facilitate the public comment portion of this meeting, Lisa?
I'm actually going to have our host, Trisha, is going to do the public comment portion of it. I think first, though, are you going to go over the housekeeping?
If you want me to have the speaking role, sure.
Yes, please.
So e-public comment, that's come and gone. So live public comment, the public accessing the meeting through the Zoom link or dial-in will be able to provide public comment. You know, I don't have the specific language, but if you're at the meeting, use the raise hand feature, and I believe hit *9 if you are on the phone to make a public comment. And I think that's it, right?
Yes, it is. We're just seeing if we have any raised hands here. So give us just a moment.
Is Jason raising his hand? I can't see.
A countdown timer will appear for the convenience of the speaker and viewers. The first speaker will be acknowledged and invited to speak when the countdown begins. Please make sure to unmute yourself when you are invited to do so. Your microphone will be muted at the end of the countdown. I am seeing no hands raised and no public email comments were received. That concludes public comment on item 2.
Great, thank you for that. On to 3, approval of minutes. Any corrections, additions, or adjustments to the regular meeting minutes from our August 13th meeting? John or Chris, anything?
No changes.
Seeing none, we'll then accept them as submitted. On to item 4.1, update on PG&E settlement funds. who will be doing this?
Mayor, before you get started, can I ask a question?
No, just kidding. Go ahead.
As far as timing goes, I have a pretty hard stop at 5 o'clock. Are we going to be able to stay within that, do you think?
I'm sure hoping so.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to mention
I
that.
would think so.
All right. I was expecting it, but I just wanted to reiterate. Thank you.
So I'll just hop on here. So I'm Alan Alton. I'm the acting chief financial officer, and I have this item. We're just going to blow past this front page with the typo on it. So move on into or not. We'll just sit here and marvel at it. You date. There we go. All right. So this item is just going to give you an update on where we are with the PG&E settlement funds. We've discussed this before a few times. We think that we understand what the committee is looking for. And so this is just sort of kind of memorializing this in slides, and then this will also be part of the presentation that will happen Tuesday in front of the full council. So at the very most, what we want is to have a what we hope will be a robust public outreach on this. We are looking for a target audience of the fire survivors, but also the community at large. We are planning to roll out a digital survey, community-wide digital survey, and then also hold 3 virtual community meetings. We were supposed to have the survey out this week with the EOC activation with the PSPS that kind of put us off a couple days, but we're hoping to have it out first thing next week. The virtual meetings will be toward the last 2 weeks of September. We'll wrap up the digital survey around October 4th, I think is our plan. And then this way that we should be able to present all of this to the subcommittee on October 8th. And then report out to the full council on this on October 27th. So next slide, please. The next slide. Well, the next slide is pretty awesome. It's all about, as we're getting into the, there we go, into the, we've broken the buckets, if you will, of categories where PG&E settlement funds could go into 3 main categories. So there's a fire resiliency unmet needs. And this is along the lines of the chart that we showed you at the last meeting, where we have the public assistance for local match, the Fire Station 5 rebuild, sidewalk repair, pavement repair, and then covering ineligible and disallowances from FEMA. Those were figuring to be around 42 to 47 million. On top of that, we want to, and right now we're still honing the dollar estimates for this, and we should have that for the Tuesday meeting, but to look at what the one-time costs basically to get the vegetation management program actually going. There's an item on the 15th that deals with the personnel aspect of it, but there's an actual services and supplies cost that will go along with getting the program up to speed and moving forward. And also, we still have the issue of hazardous tree removal. And again, we're trying to get a good estimate for you for that. And again, should have that for Tuesday. So next slide, please. So then we also have another area of operational needs, and we're looking at the general fund reserves restoration and stabilizing the structural deficit. And probably a better way to put that would be to, clearly we want to eliminate our structural deficit. So that will kind of put us in that area. So it's a range. This will be part of the management partners presentation on Tuesday, where they go over our long range financial forecasts, the assumptions that they have in there, and how the possibility of using settlement funds to help prop up some of these areas to sort of right our financial ship. In addition, we know that there's some cost relief by doing a lump sum payment of our PERS UAL. Unfortunately, we don't have the 2019 PERS valuation in the PERS Outlook tool yet. So we're hopefully by the 15th, but most likely we'll be presenting that to you at mid-year as part of that presentation. And then finally, we look into community needs, because as the committee mentioned last time, that the fire did affect the whole community. So, one area is to provide some seed money to jumpstart affordable housing through the Renewal Enterprise District. Roseland Library is also an object or an item that comes up quite a bit. So those are just some ideas of that. I know that there is input coming in from the community, and we've yet to hear what the employee groups have given in terms of what they would like to see. My guess is that when we bring this all back in terms of the outreach on the 8th and then the 27th, we'll have an idea of what their thoughts are into how to use these funds. So with that, if you have any questions, John, your wish is my command. I tried to keep this as short as possible.
Well, thanks, Alan. And I will make a comment. I don't have any questions at this point, but yeah, I'm very pleased to see that these various categories fall so much under the umbrella of community investment, and that's what I was hoping to see. And I know that there are still decisions that need to be made, and we have other people that need to weigh in. But from the list that has been prepared so far, I do think of all of these as community investments, and that's using one-time funds under that umbrella, I think is the best way to move forward. And I'm hoping that the community, that their recommendations will also fall within the same guidelines, if you will, of community investments. So, but I'm pleased to see the list so far.
Okay, John, you want to go first? Okay, good. Chris, did you have any questions or comments before?
Sorry about that.
Hey, we're on a roll.
No, I don't have any questions. My only question was really going to be whether or not we were going to see some more information on the UAL and our long-term pension obligations prior to some of these discussions. It sounds like the answer is maybe that we're going to try to, or we're working on it, but not for lack of staff effort.
Okay. Anything else, Chris?
No, I like the direction that you're going with this. I guess the only other question that I kind of have is for the sidewalks and for the pavement, does that include for owners who paid for it themselves out of their insurance? Because I know I've heard from some folks a desire to try to create a fund to be paid back to it, and I want to make sure that we're clear on this is pavement in the area and city sidewalks in the area, not homes that have been rebuilt.
Yeah, to the best of my knowledge, this is would be the city portion of that.
Okay, great, thank you.
So a couple of my questions, I'll start with that one. So the slide indicated sidewalk and pavement repair. I really have a strong interest in seeing what areas of the community that would be coming from. Whether we like it or not, we're in a new district world. And unless we believe we would be able to repair all of the sidewalks from all the damage related to the Tubbs fire, we need to know how are we breaking that up. You know, one of those slides mentioned the different areas. I'm really interested. I will be interested in hearing, okay, where will those sidewalk and pavement repairs doing? And just to your point, Chris, about owner occupied, in District 6, Northwest Santa Rosa, we have that challenge on Hopper Avenue, where back in the 80s, council flipped it, where it's the responsibility of the homeowner. So their back fence is the Hopper wall. On the other side is the sidewalk. And apparently homeowners are supposed to be responsible for that, which is a tough ask. Anyway, it's just a unique situation here. So I know there's a lot of interest to fix that specific sidewalk, which may actually be a homeowner property, but there's 64 homeowners there. So I think that'd be very interesting to hear how we came up with those figures. And the same thing with the hazardous tree removal. If we'd have the geographic, are we breaking it down by geographic, or are we making the assumption we'll be able to remove all the trees that create a hazard throughout our community, or even just those directly affected by the Tubbs fire? And then Alan, regarding the Renewal Enterprise District seed money, how was that figure determined, $8 to $10 million?
Just a rough estimate. I'm sure that there was, I'll have to double check with planning and economic development on that. Definitely before Tuesday, we'll have a better answer. I think that's based off of one of their prior studies of how much you can get for an investment into the red and what that'll produce. And but I can have a better answer for that on the 15th.
That would be great, because I've heard the ultimate goal would be to raise 20 million bucks. That could be public-private partnership. In other words, half from the governmental agencies, half from the private sector, or just all of public agencies, and then splitting between the city and the county prorated for fire impact, both coming out of the PG&E bucket of money. So I'd be very interested to hear how this money is being raised for the red and what is the source of it. And are there any contingencies that if the city of Santa Rosa is going to do that, what contingencies would we put on that, if any at all? Because if we can anticipate some of the questions like prioritization of the use of the red dollars, is that just a board direction? Do we just give them the money and let the 4 members of that board make the decisions? Or do we as a council as a whole, we'll give you, let's say, 10 million bucks, but we want to prioritize A, B, and C. So I'm just interested in both the dollar amount and then the process at which, if we were going to go in that direction. And I get this may be premature, or it may be something that this subcommittee may want to have a discussion to make a recommendation to the entire council once we get closer to identifying priorities for the use of these funds.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the idea, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me.
No,
Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, I got more. So go ahead with the red if you have any more comments.
No, all I was going to say was that we do plan on having a more robust list back to you. The hope is for the 8th, where we've had comments from the council. We have these questions here, which is great. That's what we wanted. We wanted to try to get those questions that we weren't anticipating, and so we can flesh that out at the study session. And then to have that further discussion with this committee before bringing anything back to the council.
Okay. And the same thing with the Rosen Library, because I've talked to a lot of folks about that. I've heard the ask be anywhere from $150K a year to $1 million a year to buy the whole thing for 10 to 20 million bucks a year. So a little bit more specificity as to what these dollars would be used for, what would be our return on that investment. Alan, how did the Roseland Library get onto this list? What was the data points you used?
It was in terms of something that was brought up to council quite a bit. I don't know that there were any specific data points beyond that. Obviously, this list is not something that's set in stone. It can change and, doesn't need to be on there, but.
No.
And I brought it up as an example in our last meeting, and I think that's how it got on the list.
Yeah.
Right. No, and I'm totally supportive of being it, but there's one item on here that currently I'm not an advocate of, but council heard about 50 people talking about fiber network and using how other cities have started that. And if we're using the public process to identify at least the list, I'm not sure how, given the number of people who advocated for getting away from small cell and go to fiber optic, that it's not at least an option for us to either concur or to say that's not an area we want to use these funds. Again, it's more of a process, not
Right.
the validity of that as a investment opportunity.
Right.
And kind of on that note, Tom, because I think this isn't an exhaustive list. One of the things that I was going to bring up, but I was going to wait for council, and I might as well, I guess, throw it out there now, is also looking at a revolving fund for ADU creation. Basically a fund of a couple of $1 million that people can apply for to have their ADU funded, where then each month half of the rent goes to the individual and half of the rent goes back to the fund at the city until it's completely paid off the loan. Those kinds of investment programs, I think, need to be on the table as well. But I appreciate that Alan's trying to put together some form of cost estimate so that we can look at I guess how little this actually extends into some of our priorities that we want to achieve.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things that you'll find is that $95 million is a big number, but boy, we can spend it really fast.
No kidding. Yeah, just let the three of us, the subcommittee, spend it all. And then, Alan, in relation to some of the other, the earlier slides, general fund reserve and whatnot, how does the success or failure of Measure Q impact those numbers?
Well, part of the assumptions in the long-range financial forecast is that that all three sales tax measures are extended. That the $10 million that we put back into the general fund to help shore up the general fund reserves from projects, that is a constant. So that remains there forever. And the $5 million of salary savings that we put as a hiring freeze, that amount is also a constant through this. So those three things build up where we are in terms of our assumptions for this. If any one of those don't happen, obviously it changes rather significantly what the outcome of the forecast is.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Those are all the questions I had. John or Chris, do you have any additional questions? Can we go to public comment on this item?
A countdown timer will appear for the convenience of the speakers and viewers. The first speaker will be acknowledged and invited to speak when the countdown begins. Please make sure to unmute yourself when you are invited to do so. Your microphone will be muted at the end of the countdown. At this time, there were no emailed public comments and there are no hands raised.
Okay, we'll close public comment on item 4.1. Any additional feedback? First of all, Alan, do you have any questions for any of us on the subcommittee, or Chris or John, do you have any other information you want to provide?
No, I think I'm good. I have questions to try to get us all for the presentation. And thank you very much. I appreciate the feedback.
And for your benefit, John, because Chris and I are on the council goal policy. So Tuesday, you'll be receiving, well, actually tonight you should be receiving it, our council goals, draft forms, and some of them do pertain, and we'll have information about what will be coming back to this subcommittee. So please, if there's anything else, because our next item is next meeting agenda items, I think we'll have a little bit more clarity after Tuesday's council meeting and report on our goals as to when we should be meeting next and what items should be our topics for discussion.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, Alan, anything else from us?
No, sir, I'm good.
Okay, meeting is adjourned, Mr. Sawyer, at
Excellent job.
4:24 to be exact. It's still sunny. Well, I think it's sunny outside.
Yeah, it's not really,
All right.
but I
thank you all
appreciate
for-
it.
Thank you all for your attendance.
All right,
Thank you.
see y'all.